What do you mean by that?
Total jerks.
You don't have to cry about other people's opinions.
Yeah.
You know what? I used to, that's all I cared about was meeting the vision of someone or someone else's vision.
But now it's more about me.
Now it's all about me.
Look at me. Look at what I can do.
Look what I have to say.
Is stand-up comedy and acting just an adult version of a child going, hey, watch this?
I think it is. I think it is.
Because I've always loved that thing that you did.
With Lewis.
Yeah.
Hey, look at this. Hey, look at this thing I'm not very good at. Hey, watch me do this thing that takes zero talent. I can jump off of a chair. Check it out. Hey, watch me.
Luna is super into wearing swimming goggles in the bath.
Amazing.
And she wants to take at least, this is not a lie, she wants to take at least 2 baths a day, and she wants them to last about 3 hours. And she just swims back and forth. And about every 15 minutes, she goes, hey, Dad, can you come watch this? Yeah. And then it's just,
yeah.
And I'm like, that's a great bug.
That's good. That is good. Yeah, Lewis doesn't do that anymore, but when he was much younger, he was just constantly pulling on my clothes. Hey, look at this. Watch this. Look how I picked my foot up when I jumped. Oh, it's funny.
Sometimes Luna will run, and I'll be like, good job, Lou. And she's just like, yeah, I'm a fast runner. Yeah. I'm like, you're so fast. And internally I'm thinking, you're not that fast. So being a comic is just getting on stage and be like, listen to these funny words I can say. Listen to these I put together.
Yeah.
Well, there has to be a difference of when somebody invited you.
Yeah.
Versus when you have your own, you set up your own show.
Yeah, but I guess trying to find your audience is very much like you feel like you're pulling on people's clothes going, hey, watch this. Hey.
Oh, totally.
Hey, look at me. Hey, look at me.
Or, yeah, just when I'm like, hey, you guys want to come to my show?
Yeah.
Hey, you guys want to come look at me? That's all I'm doing. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
so much reward. That's why it's so rewarding when I'm at a show that's not mine. Like if I get booked at a club or I'm doing a church, especially if I do a church, like if somebody hey, we'd like you to come and perform, and then standing on stage and being like, you guys asked, that feels a little bit better. You guys asked me to be here versus me asking you to come.
Or the pastor asked you to be there, but none of the people there could care. They could care less.
Oh my. Yeah.
But the pastor really likes you.
Yes.
And so, yeah.
That's a good segue. So you want to talk about my tour first?
I would love to.
Yeah. Okay. So, welcome to the podcast.
Welcome.
Gary's here.
Welcome.
Big, a lot of comments, Gare, on wanting to see your face.
The people love Gary. It's a big mystery.
Yep. Somebody said once we get to 10 million subscribers, and then
that's what it'll take.
I was like, woo, that's a lot.
If we can just get to 100,
that'd be great.
Actually, how many subscribers?
I'm not going to limit God.
I don't know. I'll have to look. I don't know even how to know.
Do you add them up over everything, or do you just say?
I don't know how to know.
Only YouTube, because that's the only place people would see my face anyways.
The only place that we have it on YouTube right now is on mine. I got like 500 subscribers.
Okay.
So it's not just for the podcast. So, yeah, I guess in 2023, we're going to figure that out.
We don't have a Risk It for the Biscuit YouTube channel?
We don't.
I thought we talked about doing that.
We are. That's what we talked about.
There's a lot of things we talk about doing.
Because I tried to search for it the other day. I was like, oh, I guess it's really low.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. I'm going to change that.
If this was about New Year's resolutions.
Oh, hello.
That would be top of the list.
Yeah. We got to Risk It for the Biscuit. That's good. Okay. We'll do
that. YouTube channel. That'd be good.
Yeah. All right. In the podcast today, we're talking about a lot going on.
A lot
happening in the last month of 2022. We're going to talk about 17 shows in 17 days. That's what I did.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
In the month of December, my second tour. And that's what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Adam, I got to know. 17 shows in 17
thank you, Chris,
days.
Thank you for inviting me here today.
Thank you for being here.
Oh, my
First and
word.
foremost.
That's an honor.
Can
I just say,
I don't know how you're fitting this in your schedule.
Can I just say, give honor where honor's due.
Yes.
Oh, Chris.
Yes.
You have, you deserve some honor. Gary as well. And I give it to you because you're due it.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to invite you over here to Gary's house just because I got to hear about these 17 shows.
You're like, I gotta know.
And I'm like, I'm not going to invite you to my house, but what if we went to Gary's?
Right, exactly.
And talked about it.
Well, a lot of time, like when we started this podcast, so you could follow along on our journey. We could share it with you, and then we started doing like themes every episode, which is fun. I like it when we talk about a theme.
Okay.
But we want to share the journey with you, and so December was super big.
Yeah.
For both of us. And so we're gonna talk about that in a few episodes. Are you okay with your mic there? If you're listening, Chris has never dealt with technology.
I don't know technology.
It is actually. If you don't know Chris, he is very bad at.
I'm horrible at technology,
and it is amazing that you blew up on TikTok.
Yeah, I never wanted to be there. It just kind of happened.
It did just happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. In December 2022, I went on my second tour and ended up just sort of happened that 17 shows in 17 days. Mm-hmm. So it was a big month. It's probably it's definitely my busiest month.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about that.
Let's talk about it.
All right. You invited me here.
Yeah.
I've got a question for you.
Gary's got a question.
I would love to know. I know you had to cancel some, but how much of this was you willing into existence, and then how much of this was like people coming to you? I know all of it is like you had some point of like the hard work was done, but how many did you try to set up, and then how many was it just like people contacting you?
Yeah, it was probably about maybe 60-40, 60 people reaching out, 40 kind of my doing. So I did 2 clubs. So a week at a club is like 4 or 5 days.
Yeah.
So it'd be like Wednesday to Saturday. That would be a week at a club. Comedy doesn't really happen on Monday and Tuesday, except for like little bar shows.
Never anything funny going on Monday or Tuesday.
You don't even laugh. People hate those 2 days.
No, yeah, totally.
They're like, what about the Mondays? Big case of the Mondays.
Yeah.
I did that. I booked 3 churches and 3 corporate events. All right, so that kind of gives you an understanding of that. Okay, I started off in Lowell, Arkansas. I got a club there, the Grove, which is a great club. Reached out like in September about they had seen they like clean comedy, and so they asked me if I could come out for a week back in September. And just every date that they asked, I was booked. And I said my first opening is like for a whole week is in December. And I had been like, I had sent them an email earlier in the year. So like that's a
saying
lot.
What? Saying that you wanted to perform there?
Well, there was I did this
just
show.
Just to say hi.
I just want to say hi
just
to you
introduce
guys.
myself.
Okay.
So I had done this. I had done a couple of dates in Tulsa with a friend, with a new friend of mine, a comic out of Oklahoma City, and Julie Drake. Hi, Julie, if you're listening to this. And she said, hey, you should, I'm going to introduce you to this club in Arkansas, and they probably would love to have you because you are clean.
Yeah.
And so she sent in, like months ago, sent that introductory email. They eventually reached back out and said, hey, we saw a clip of yours on YouTube. Would you like to come out? And I said, we went back and forth. I can't until December. And they said, well, you're going to love us then because Kevin Nealon's from SNL is coming in December. Would you like to open for him?
It's awesome.
And I pooped my pants because that's the
You're
cast.
no longer a clean comic.
I'm no longer. Hey-o. And because I grew up on Chris Farley, David Spade, Adam Sandler, Kevin Nealon.
Totally.
The early 90s SNL.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
Kevin Nealon.
Kevin Nealon.
He's so cool.
So cool.
Yeah.
So cool. So that kind of, I was like, oh, great. I'm going to do these 3 days in Lowell. Then a church reached out to me from San Antonio. They had asked another comic to do their Christmas party. Mm-hmm. I had met that comic on the phone. Somebody introduced me to that comic and said, hey, just a friend of mine said, hey, I'd love to introduce you guys. The guy couldn't do it because he was already doing a party. And so he said, hey, you should have Adam come out. Mm-hmm. So they reached out to me on my website and then I booked that.
Yeah.
Then my home club, the Looney Bin in Tulsa, said, hey, are you available a couple of weeks later in December, like the 17th for like 4 days? Yeah. And I was like, sure, of course. Yeah. So now I got this little, so by like October, I'm like, oh, I got a week here. I got a couple of weeks off and then I got another week. Well, I'm on this, this is where it gets real nerdy. I'm on this website called Gig Salad, which is an amazing name, where companies and churches are looking for entertainment.
Yeah.
And, they find you on there and they reach out and they're like, how much would it cost to have you come out? I had two corporations, one in Kansas, one in Tulsa, reach out and say, hey, we're looking for a clean comic for our company Christmas party. And so we talked on the phone and I booked both of them. And then I was like, oh, I got a couple more dates here. All right. So that's how all of those came about. And then like somewhere in the middle of it, I had been talking to this church that I reached out to. So this would definitely be like me trying to make this happen. In my hometown in Minden, Louisiana, I said, hey, I'm going to come down to Minden and would love to perform at your, if you got something going on. And they said, hey, we got a Christmas party. We'd love to have you. Yeah. And then there was another church that I knew. I said, hey, just to let you know, I'm going to be down there. And they're like, hey, we have a company Christmas party the next day, or a church Christmas party. So would you come? Yeah. So suddenly I realized, oh my goodness, I have got like 17 shows, because sometimes you do 2 shows in one day.
Yeah.
Booked within the 17 days. And then right at the last minute, there was a nonprofit in town that found me on LinkedIn.
Oh, love LinkedIn.
And they said, hey, we're having a gala and we'd like to have a stand-up comic. And I said, I'm already booked that night, so I can't do it. They said,
so you just said, well, what if Chris came out? What if you had...
I didn't say that.
Oh, you didn't say that?
I didn't say that.
He asked if they would move their event.
And they said,
another day.
No, they said, hey, our event, your show starts at 7:30. Ours starts at 6:30. Would you open it?
Amazing.
And then you can go to the other place. And I was like, I could do that. Yeah. So I had 2 that day.
That's great.
What was the nonprofit?
It was a unique kind of thing. It was a ropes course for teens. I'm trying to think of a specific at-risk teens.
At-risk teens.
Yeah. So it was like a teamwork ropes course that got purchased to become more of a nonprofit for at-risk youth. Does that make sense? Yeah. So they had a big gala.
Cool.
Grady Nichols was there.
Oh my gosh.
Little Tulsa celebrity.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. He's a musician in town. So I got to meet him, which was really nice. So yeah. So that kind of, that answers the question of like how I kind of booked these. It took a long time. And it all just kind of happened. It all kind of
came together. Yeah.
Kind of worked out. But I did have to postpone 2 of them.
Yeah.
Right in the middle of it, Gary and I were in San Antonio at one of the churches, and my family came down with the flu so hard. Diana, who is pregnant, was like, not only did she have the flu, but she couldn't take like really any like real medicine, like when you're like gonna knock yourself out. And so she just had, 10 days. Yeah,
that sucks.
It was bad. So I couldn't go back to my hometown down in Minden. It was pretty bad. Like we almost went to the emergency room.
Oh my gosh!
Just like in the middle of the night because we just felt like the baby might be at risk. Everything's fine. Yeah, it's okay. And we had our friends helped us, and the doctor was great. But I had to call him up, and thankfully, like we were able to postpone them. But and I know you'd love this.
Yes.
I was committed to performing 17 times because I've been saying 17 shows in 17 days. So whenever I got better and I got back on the road, I hit up 2 open mics. And I was just like,
still did it.
Yeah.
Did it.
Which was actually fun because I just filmed my special and So I've kind of used that material.
So that material,
I'm
that's
looking to
fun.
write. I want to write new material.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I was able to try out some new jokes.
Oh, I see. Gotcha. Yeah.
So yeah. So we started off in Lowell, Arkansas. Went down to Texas. Would have gone to Louisiana. Then back to Tulsa. Up to Kansas. Ended in Tulsa last week at the Looney Bin, which was great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's awesome.
yep. There it is.
What a season.
What a month.
What a month.
Couple of unique things that happened. Opening for Kevin Nealon was awesome. They added a show, so we ended up doing 5 shows together. They were all sold out.
Yeah.
Kevin Nealon was very kind.
Yeah.
And we talked a lot about editing.
Yes.
Because he edits his own show.
Yeah.
And I'm an editor.
Yeah, he's got a show on YouTube.
Hiking with Kevin.
Hiking with Kevin. I
Yeah.
love the show. Check it out.
Yeah, it's a great
really,
show.
really fun.
He
What's
just goes
the
on.
chance you get invited to
Well,
walk?
Slim to none.
Slim to none.
Seems like he's got some pretty
got
big celebrities.
he's connected to the big names.
Yeah.
Jack Black was on there.
Yeah,
Conan
Paul
O'Brien.
Rudd.
Paul. Yeah, he's got amazing guests. But yeah, check it out on YouTube. I've
It's very
enjoyed it
good.
thoroughly. Yeah, it's really
Yeah, and it's
fun.
short. It's like 17 minutes.
Yeah, he just goes on a hike, and then asks questions while they're hiking. And
Yeah, it's great.
really funny.
Yeah. So that
A lot
was
of you
great.
should always be training in case he
That's a good
invites
point.
you.
That's true.
That's a good
Just
point.
always be
Always
ready.
be ready.
Yeah, I'll go today. It is about 4 degrees in Tulsa right now.
Yeah,
But
I would
hiking.
start now.
I would start today. Yeah. So couple of highlights or unique situations. It was exhausting.
Yeah,
I finished in Lowell, Arkansas on a Saturday night, drove home, got home about 1:30 in the morning, went to bed, got up at 4 to catch the flight with Gary to go to San Antonio.
Oh my gosh.
So that was kind of
that's
a lot.
not ideal. Probably.
Yeah, that's not an ideal situation. That was unique. All the shows of Kevin's were sold out, and I was the only opener. So it was just 20 minutes of warming up the crowd, and they were great. Big shout out to the Grove. I really had a good time. And then went down to the Rise Church with Gary in San Antonio. Awesome big Christmas party. Did feel a little bad. I felt like I made fun of someone in the audience a little too hard.
Oh, really?
So that's a learning.
I want to know more about that.
Do you?
Yeah.
So
I don't
there-
want to relive that.
Would you say
don't
no?
wanna
I don't want to relive it.
Oh my God. Was it that bad?
No, it wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that bad, but I did feel bad, and I was looking for the person afterwards, and I wish I would have.
And you never found
I
them
didn't
afterwards?
find them.
Oh,
So if you're
no.
listening, yeah, and I don't know their names.
What did
or
you
whatever.
say, Adam?
It was a. So they had a costume contest for their Christmas party,
Oh, right.
and great, some pretty amazing costumes.
But they weren't there was no Christmas theme. It was just costume.
Yeah, just
there's
costume.
Star
So it was
Wars
almost more like
characters.
Halloween then.
It was kind of and it was a little. At first, I was a little confused, but then when I asked, they were like, "We just love dressing up." It's like so
Oh.
it wasn't dressed up like Christmas; it was dressed up like anything.
Gotcha.
So there was like, I saw people dressed up like Star Wars, and then some people were just wearing funny, silly costumes, and
Some people were like a Christmas tree.
yeah, some
or
people
Santa.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. The pastor was dressed up like Santa.
Okay.
That was fun. But there was this guy in the kind of the front row, and he looked like a blackjack dealer.
Okay.
And so I said, "What are you dressed up like?" And he said, "Oh, that's what it was. There was a theme. It was decades."
Oh.
Right, Gare? Like they're just supposed to, maybe.
And I didn't pick up on
Okay.
on that.
Okay.
Anyway, he's like, "I'm dressed up like the 20s." And I
Okay.
said something like, "So when you think of the 20s, you think of a casino." And it obviously isn't funny now, but in the moment,
Sounds hilarious.
in the moment, it's kind of funny.
No,
and
I'm just kidding, yeah.
He was just like, "No, it's like what? It's like classy 20s." And I was like, "So when you think of classy, you think of a casino." And then I should have stopped.
It's just out there.
I just kind of kept, in my mind, I feel like I just kind of kept going at him.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, and then afterwards I was like, what am I,
Yeah.
why was I being so mean? And so I felt really bad. So I don't know their names, but if you're listening to this, I'm very sorry.
They're not listening.
They're
to
not
this.
listening. Yeah.
They're hate
Right.
that guy.
Yeah. And Gary, what did you say to me afterwards, Gary?
I just said, I don't know what I said to you.
Yeah.
I just said maybe maybe some of the
crowd
poking
work.
fun at the crowd. You got to be careful.
Do you ever? Have you?
It's like bullying in high school. It's why kids bully. Everyone's laughing.
Yeah,
and you're making fun of the one kid. And
yeah. It actually is something that I even talked to you about the other day because you and I were on a podcast the other day, the Scott Townsend show.
Yeah,
and I told you, I was like, I'm sorry, I feel like I was kind of being mean to you on the podcast.
Yeah, I didn't remember you being.
You didn't remember it, but
yeah. And
I
think it's just I've just become so desensitized to your constant.
Well, you're just used to it. You're just like, this is what I got to go through.
He's not intimidated by you in the slightest.
But I mean, am I wrong that sometimes
I think it
gets a little easy on stage.
Sure, I think you can take it too far. And so much of like ribbing on people is predicated on them knowing that they really that you like them or you love them or whatever. Like that's where it's fun, where it's like I deal with this when I do the Pastor Bobby character because like I'm a Christian, like I grew up in the church. I love the church.
Right.
The church isn't perfect, but like these jokes about, a pastor, this character, Pastor Bobby, is all kind of from the mindset of like kind of making fun of our own family. Like to me, I'm like laughing at ourselves.
Right.
But to an outsider, they see that and they're just like, yeah, like I'm telling jokes that are trying to tear down the church or whatever. Yeah. And so that's a weird dynamic of like, I would imagine it's the same way doing crowd work in a new place that like, is this guy an outsider making fun of us or is this guy like a part of us and we're just having a good laugh?
Yeah. And for me at least, my cynicism comes out pretty easily. Like when crowd work is off the cuff.
Yeah.
And when I'm working the room and people are laughing, it is way too easy to step over the line of from we're having fun and laughing at ourselves to just being downright mean.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't want to be mean. Yeah. I don't want to be mean, period. And it is something I deal with all the time. It is way too easy for me to cut.
Yeah.
I think I had a friend one time say, you cut so fast.
Yeah.
And you move on so quickly and you don't realize the damage that you've done. And I don't like that about me.
Right. Sure. Yeah.
So
I mean, it's like it becomes too personal.
Right.
Too quick, like with the guy's outfit that he liked.
Right.
There was a point where you were doing something with somebody and you were like, where's this girl's parents? As a joke. And then her parents actually stood up.
Yes.
And then you go, now where are your parents?
Right.
That was really funny.
Yeah.
In the moment. But there was nothing too personal about it.
Right. Yeah. One girl, there was this girl, she was like yelling out stuff. And I was like, where's this girl's parents? I mean, she kind of brought that on herself. And then the mom stands up and she's dressed up like Chewbacca, which is just hilarious. And it's like, where's this lady's parents? Like, that's okay.
Yeah.
But I honestly, because I edit this podcast, dude, if you want to get a real picture of like who you are or what you're doing, film yourself every week talking to your friends and have to go back and relive it. And you will realize there are some things you don't like about yourself.
Right.
And there have been some times where I have cut.
Yeah.
I'm just like, let's not give that to the world because it'd be being a little too mean.
And if only that were... Well, I feel like that's why it's so important to have people in your life that can actually be like, hey, you kind of tend to be this way.
Yes.
In these certain situations. And it's like, that's,
And I would say you need to like listen to people. I've told you guys this a bunch, but when I was writing Pete and Penelope, they brought in 2 staff writers from Disney Junior. And one of the things that they taught me was if someone says something about part of your script, you can take it or leave it. If 2 people say something about that same part, it doesn't mean that they're right, but it does mean that you need to look at it.
Right.
And I think that is something to be lived out just in regular life.
Yeah.
If you're married and your spouse says, hey, you might consider that's not a great thing that you're doing.
Yeah.
And then your best friend or another friend brings it up, listen.
Yeah.
They do love you. At least that's what's happening in my life.
Well, if your wife is saying it, just listen from the jump, because
that's a good point. That's true. Yeah. If your spouse is saying something, give them the respect they deserve to look at it.
Let's say you get a comment on social media by a stranger, and then your friend says the same thing, then
you know
then look
something's
at
going on.
Or just any comment, just one comment. That's
just one.
That's when you need to look. Yeah. So that's something I want to work on.
Yeah.
Just being funny without being just downright mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those were a couple of standout moments. And then the others were corporate events. I'm thankful for any gig, all gigs.
Yeah.
But corporate events are unique in that for me, the boss hired me and the boss loves stand up.
Right.
That does not automatically mean everyone in the room loves stand up.
Totally. Yeah.
And so I started my set, both all three corporate events, but just real quick into it, I realized, you know what? They're not interested in this. They would probably like it a little bit better if I worked the room and just talked about Susie, like that old joke that we were making the other day on the podcast. And that is fun. They do think that's fun.
Yeah. It's connecting to things that are personal to them.
Yes.
That there's common ground with these ideas because everyone knows that person or whatever.
And nobody ever makes fun of Susie or asks, about or whatever. And
there's things, what was it? I forget who said this, but something about how like the court jester was brought in. Was in the king's court because he could say things to the king that no one else could say.
Oh, right.
In the sense that like you can laugh about things that like in a corporate setting, you could probably make fun of the boss.
Yes, right. You
in
can.
A way
they
that
like it.
Like no one else would be able to like say those things.
Yeah. One of the bosses was like, I asked him, what do you do? And he said, I'm kind of in charge of HR. And I said, that's what you want out of your HR person. They say they're kind of in charge. And that's, nobody else is going to be able to really make that joke.
That's a real heart for human resources. He's kind of in charge of it.
That's a son that he just has to be in charge of it. Yeah. Yeah. Also, the other thing about corporate events, a lot of drinking. So people get wild pretty fast. Pretty fast. So you gotta watch out for that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Does that help you though? Do you feel like?
No, I would not say so.
Oh really?
No, people like in a club. It's the same thing in a club. People, but the later the show, the more drinks people have in them, the more. And they think they're just having fun, but they're really ruining the show. They just
they say things and
and it's loud, very loud, and so that's but you gotta. It's hard. That's hard to navigate. Yeah, in a club they get thrown out.
I see.
In a corporate event,
right?
You just got to roll with it.
And when you say they get loud, are you saying like they're just interrupting jokes? They're saying things. They're offering suggestions.
All of the above.
Okay, it's just loud. Like they're just talking to you.
What'd you say, Gary?
They just want to be a part of the show.
And really, at one point, one of the corporate events, I said something, and I don't remember what my joke was, but this guy goes, "How big was he?" And then he stands up and starts spinning in the middle of the room, and I'm like. And then you just have to be like, what's happening right now? And try to get a laugh out of that. Yeah. Yeah. I think I've talked about this since with several comics and I think you have to look at it as I have been hired to bring some entertainment to the end of the year. That was a lot of work. And I just have to guide this moment. So I'm gonna do my set. I'll do the jokes that I can. I'll respond to what's happening. I'll make a little fun of the boss or some other people. Susie, who's been working there for 85 years or whatever, and everybody likes, but she's pretty straight laced. And I'm not filming it as a special and putting it online.
It's more for just that.
It's for that group. Yeah. And
which I think is actually really cool. Like, in the sense of like doing something specific to groups of people there's a level that you can get to that is, I don't know. Like, I guess what I'm trying to say is like, you're creating in a moment that they're not going to be able to have anywhere else.
Yeah.
In the sense that, they're not going to be able to just put a video on, or, it's like you're bringing your own experience, but you're bringing, I'm struggling to say this, but you are creating a moment that is specific to them.
Yes, it is a special thing for them.
I think it's really cool.
Yeah. And we had some, I got some reviews from some of the churches, and the companies, but I got some reviews. And like one of them from that church in Texas was just like, our volunteers were talking about it the whole week.
Yeah.
It's like, that was very specific to them.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So, which that, I was mean to that guy. They did give me 5-star review online. That's good. So they did like me.
Turns out they didn't like that guy either.
They're like, finally someone said it.
I have heard. I heard on Dustin Nickerson is a comedian that we listen to. I did hear that he on his podcast talked about one time doing a church and not getting invited back, and the pastor having to apologize for him.
Really?
Just because of something he had said that just rubbed him the wrong way. Oh. That is my nightmare.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Mine too.
It's probably going to happen at some point, but that is my nightmare.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So
that's the thing. What's so scary to me about being brought into a specific church or sort of thing is like, your whole job there is to bring joy and fun to this thing. And if it doesn't go good, like, everybody knows.
Oh yeah.
It's not like, I don't know. I even think about like the difference between like comedy and music. Like music, if people aren't enjoying it, the music is still enveloping the whole room, and the music still goes on, and maybe they're bored, but you don't really know. When you're trying to be funny and no one's laughing, everybody knows.
Oh Lord,
that it's like, this guy's not very good.
Yeah, we don't like this, and we've got another hour.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep, that's no good.
I don't know. There's just like an added pressure of like, you brought me here, and all these people showed up, and when you just don't deliver, it's just a terrible feeling.
Yep. Yeah, that's really hard. Yeah. And then the other thing that was kind of a standout for me was I did a corporate fundraiser several months ago in Tulsa, and there were people there from my church, from our church. The event did not go well. My set did not go well at all. A lot of things were working against it, and ultimately just did not. Yeah. I would say it was a pretty hard bomb. And they called me the church called the other day and was like, "Hey, can you do our Christmas party for this group of volunteers?"
Yeah.
I couldn't do it because I already was booked.
Did you tell them about 17 shows in 17 days?
I was like, "I'm sorry, I'm busy that day." That's what I said.
Okay, yeah.
But I was thankful that they at least
reached back out.
They could see through. Like, it was really my set got pushed like an hour and a half. It was very late. It wasn't a very good setup.
Yeah.
And so that was really nice. And then the last thing, lady passed out during our show on the last day. So the last 4 days of the tour, I did the Looney Bin in Tulsa, my home club. And during the headliner set, one of the last nights, a lady passed out and stopped breathing.
Oh my gosh, that's terrible.
Yeah, I mean, like, you talk about interrupt the set, like lights on.
Oh my god.
Everyone's standing up trying to get this lady to come back.
Oh my.
She did.
Yeah.
As far as I know, she's okay. She started breathing. She started talking.
I would assume they called an ambulance.
They called the ambulance. Yeah. And what had happened was she had given blood that day, and so she passed out.
Oh my gosh.
That's what I understood to happen. Big shout out to Colin Chamberlain, the headliner is from New York, for just he rolled with it. It was funny. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, what happens at they take her out of the room. Yes. EMTs are there.
Right.
They take her. Then what do? You
got to go back into the set.
Do you really?
Yeah. So lights back off because contractually
you have to fulfill your time.
Yeah. These people have bought tickets. You got to do 45 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So, what really helped, was everything.
Yeah.
She walked out.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Oh my gosh.
Can you imagine if she had died or just was unresponsive?
Oh, dude.
And they had to take her out on a stretcher.
I've been a part of a situation like that.
Oh,
not in a show, but I was in the same room as a guy passed out.
Yeah.
Wife was right there next to him. It was horrible.
Oh my word.
He's not breathing.
Yeah.
Defibrillator. I mean, the whole thing, they life flighted him. It was horrible. So I'm just saying, like, he ended up being fine. He made it, which was amazing.
Were you performing or were you just there?
No, I was just there. It was at an event I was at. I was not performing at it, but so it wasn't like the show got interrupted. There wasn't a show.
Yeah.
It was just we were all in this same building, and but I'm just saying, like, how graphic and how, like, horrible that moment is. I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
Like, going, okay, well, now let's get back into my stuff.
Yep.
It was like, I remember just being like, I can still remember it. It was horrible.
Oh man. Yeah. Gary and I were we went and saw Mike Birbiglia in Denver, big theater. And we didn't realize it at the time, but he was doing The Old Man in the Pool, which is all about death. And
spoiler alert.
Well, it's fear of dying. And a guy had a heart attack during the show. But he was in the balcony. We didn't hear about it until the next day.
Oh my gosh.
And we ran into somebody who had mentioned it, but we don't know if that guy's okay.
Man.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So really no one wants to kill it.
No, you don't actually want to kill. That's just
happen.
a figure of speech.
And that's a good joke you could make.
Yeah.
That I thought about later. You don't actually want to kill it. Yeah.
So how did this guy handle it?
Yeah. So they turned the lights back on. The manager said, "Hey, we're going to take her out." And it's only a room about 200, so everybody can hear her talking. She's good. She's walking. She's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And we're going to go back to the show. And then from there, lights go off and he's just like, where was I?
Yeah, no doubt.
So you're just trying to get one little laugh to get back into it.
So he did. Yeah, obviously you would want to acknowledge it, I would assume. I'm just trying to think.
It was all we could think about.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It was what was happening.
Yeah. Did he ever get it back? Like,
totally.
Yeah.
Huge. Colin's been a comic for 10 or 11 years. And so he's had a lot of experience. He said he never had that, but something similar. And so, I think he just said something like, how do I go back to talking about how dating is hard? Like,
exactly.
And you get some laughs and then you can eventually get
working back into it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was crazy. And that's it. Finished that out. Great shows. The last show, all the shows were hot in Tulsa. And I am very thankful because it is very difficult to get shows as an up and coming comic. And it's incredibly difficult to actually make any money at it.
Yeah.
And December was good. And the cherry on top, which can be the end of this episode, was the last day of the 17 shows. I got my final version of my Dry Bar special.
Yes.
I was very excited about. I filmed my Dry Bar comedy special. If you don't know what it is, it's the leading clean comedy channel on YouTube. They're on Peacock. They have their own app. But Dry Bar films out in Utah. Mm-hmm. And to get picked as a comic, especially like a few years in, is a big deal.
Yeah.
And I did a 25-minute set, and I did that in October of 2021. Mm-hmm. It takes a long time for it to come out. And you have no communication. No one's like, all right, it's coming up or whatever. Mm-hmm. You're just kind of hoping.
Yeah.
And so
just you opened an email one day and it said, hey, it's done.
I just saw this little notification on my mail, and it was from the lady who booked me. And I was like, oh my goodness. And there it was.
So they have it done now. Did they say when?
They didn't. So
another 18 months.
Another 18 months could be.
Hold on. Did you get paid for this, or how does that work?
Yeah, you just get paid a flat fee.
Okay.
And that includes up front or when you get there. Yeah, and that includes all your travel. I got my Dry Bar. People who are in comedy would be interested in this. The only reason I got a Dry Bar is because someone on Facebook mentioned me in a post. Somebody was looking for a church comic in Tulsa, and someone messaged me and said, "Hey, you should." My friend Nicole Miller. She said, "Hey, you could do this. I can't do it. So you could do it." And so I messaged the person and I said I could do it. And they said, "Do you have any clips?" I sent it to him, and then he came back. He said, "All right, I've already booked this, but I have a relationship with Dry Bar. Would it be okay if I submitted you?" And I said, "Yes, that would be fine." And then a month or so later, he said, "Do either of these dates work for you? They'd like you to do it."
That's awesome.
So you just get paid a flat rate. It includes all your travel and everything. And then you film your Dry Bar 2 times, and then you wait.
You just filmed it back to back, same night?
The same night. So it's 2 shows. 3 comics are filming their Dry Bar. So I was, of the lineup, I was the 3rd. So they have an MC that comes out, talks about what the night's going to be, warms up the crowd. First comic comes out, does 25 minutes. They leave. The host comes back out and resets it. The second one comes out and does it. They take a break. Everybody goes and gets snacks or drinks or whatever. And then the host comes back out, and I did mine. So, and it's like that 2 times.
Same audience.
2 different audiences. Yeah. So they, by the time I did my second set, it was like midnight.
Oh, wow.
I was exhausted. And the crowd was kind of tired too.
Yeah.
So that was a little hard, but I'm very proud of it. They asked me if I had any changes. They sent it to me several months ago.
Yeah.
And I gave them a bunch of changes, cut some stuff that didn't really work. And they sent it to me again. They said, "Do you have any other changes?" And my only change was at the very end on the credits, it says written by, and it said Adam Bush. And Diana wrote some of my jokes. So I had them write her name there too.
Yeah.
So
it's awesome.
It'll come out, and we'll make a big deal about it or whatever.
Yeah.
And tell you all about it. So that's it. 17 shows in 17 days.
Stinking awesome.
The cherry on top.
Sweet.
I think
I'm so proud of you.
Oh, my word. Turkey.
No, I'm serious. It's exciting to see what you're doing, and it's really cool, man.
Well, awesome. I was excited to tell you about my Dry Bar because I've been so jealous of you lately. It's a happy jealousy, but you've just been killing it. And we're going to talk about that.
Adam,
yes.
Let's not use that phrase anymore.
Killing it is a little insensitive given current circumstances, what we just talked about.
I apologize.
Come on, man.
All right, so that's the episode. When this comes out, I have a show coming up that if you're listening to this, you can come to. On January 31st, I am performing in Bartlesville at the Palace.
Ooh,
which sounds way bigger than.
It's
buffet?
Cool. Yeah, it's Chinese buffet.
It's very cool, but. Sorry, the way I'm saying this is terrible. But it is a restaurant and a bar in Bartlesville. That's very cool. It's very cool. They have renovated this super old building, and we're doing awesome. A couple of small shows. So you can check out. You can go to heyadambush.com and you can buy a ticket to it. So, yeah. What do you want to say
about what?
What do you want people?
I missed why you were talking about. I thought you were just saying you have a cool show coming up.
You don't have an ad queued up?
I was just wrapping up.
I'm so sorry.
The podcast.
What do I want to say? What?
You got any new merch or any new?
When will this one show?
In a couple of weeks, like right around January, beginning of January. We're trying to make these a little bit more. We were a few weeks behind. We're trying to make them a little bit more,
a little tighter.
A little tighter. I'm going to leave this long pause in.
Yeah, leave this in here. I don't.
No, we lost him. We lost everybody already. Like so
people already know about my merch and all this kind of stuff. I don't.
Yeah, Chris has got it. If you haven't seen it, Chris has got a ton of awesome merch.
I've got some merch.
It's going fast and hot. It is. You're doing well.
It's doing well. Yeah, it's been really cool.
What kind of? You got pillows, mugs.
I got a bunch of mugs. I got shirts, bandanas, sweatshirts. I've got a puzzle. A Christmas puzzle, I guess. Well, it's not Christmas, it's just a puzzle.
Just a puzzle.
A pillow. A thankfulness journal. Pastor Bobby thankfulness journal.
Oh, you do? I didn't know that. Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
I mean, it's just a journal, basically. But Yeah, just some fun stuff. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
ChrisMushComedy.com.
ChrisMushComedy.com.
All right. Hey, subscribe, rate, review, share this with your friends, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.
Bye.